All right. There we go. Let me see. Can you hear me? Yep. Okay. Let me see. Well, good afternoon. Well, evening now, everyone. Welcome back to Dad Mode Activated. So, today we're going to dive into one of the tougher challenges a dad can face, and that's navigating fatherhood after divorce. So, I've already done an episode on this, but I got a lot of really good feedback and a lot of questions. So, if this is for you, make sure you tap that like button, subscribe, drop a comment, let me know where you're tuning in from, um, and let's build this community. Show up and stay strong for our kids. And then remember, it is a safe space, so no judgment, no negativity, just some real talk and real support for dads doing their best. So we'll jump right in. So segment one, this first portion here, we're going to talk about the reality of being a divorced dad. Um, so if you think about it for a second, divorce does kind of change everything, and not even kind of. It definitely changes everything. You go from seeing your kids every day to following a schedule. Um, you might deal with custody things, financial stress, figuring out how to still be a strong dad while trying to co-parent at the same time. And some things that are normal after going through a divorce, feeling wise, feeling lost, disconnected from your kids, struggling with co-parenting dynamics, dealing with the loneliness that comes with it, as well as the emotional exhaustion, and then trying to find your identity outside of marriage. A lot of folks stay married for a long time, and they kind of lose themselves in it or in the routine of it. So that could be a real challenge coming out of it. And then worrying about how the divorce will affect your kids. So that's a big one. And a question for the group. What's been your biggest challenge as a divorced dad? So you can drop a comment, send me a message. Either way, I'm good with chatting through that with you. And you never know, you might end up on one of these episodes. But for the next piece, it's really about how to stay present, especially if you don't have full custody. Say you've got 50-50, or you're on an every other weekend. So one of the hardest parts is not being able to see your kids every day. You go from seeing them every day to not, and that can be quite the adjustment that needs to be made. So what you really want to focus on is maximizing your time together, and then be intentional about what you're doing there. Making memories. You don't have to sit and stare at your phone. You don't have to run out and do all these big projects. Say you've got some things pending, and those things can wait. Spend time with your kids. Do what they want to do and what they're interested in, and then stay connected between visits. So video calls, voice messages, even handwritten notes. That's kind of a big deal. Um, and creating traditions. So even if you don't have them full time, you can still have things like a dad Saturday or a movie night Monday. For me in particular, we do things like Taco Tuesday. Now they're starting to hate it, so I'm going to have to get creative. But Taco Tuesday is a pretty regular thing, and it has turned into Taco Tuesday and let me make a grilled cheese while I'm at it. Um, and then next, it's how to make every moment count. So being 100% present. I know I had already mentioned, put the phone down, focus on them, ask about their world, their school, their friends, interests, dreams. And a lot of times, depending on your kids' age, you might get the, yeah, it's fine, or, nothing happened. And you really have to try and dig for that information. You don't have to just leave it lie with, I how was your day? Well, it was good. All right, moving on. Right. So, and then avoid overcompensating. So don't just be the fun dad, be consistent. Don't change your rules one day because just because. Don't, change up your personality, things like that. They're really just looking for you to be genuine and to be yourself, because that's really what they're looking out for. And then another question for the group. So, what's one way you stay in touch when your kids aren't with you? Like I said, I mentioned a few things: um, video messages, text messages, whatever you can do there. I heard this, or I talked to this one parent. He he maintains a email, which I've heard this before. I just had never heard it from somebody in real in real life. I've only read about it. But he maintains an email where he sends video messages every couple of days or so, and he saves them to this email. And he plans to, when his children get older, to share those emails with them. Um, I think that's pretty cool. That's a good idea. So, co-parenting without conflict. So you really want to always put your kids first, no matter what issue exists with your ex. The goal is a happy, healthy child. And then you want to set clear boundaries. Keep communication about the kids and avoid personal drama or any back and forth. It's really just not worth your time or your energy. Lead by example. So show your child how to handle tough situations with respect. Um, that's a big one. And remember, you don't have to like your ex, but you do have to work with them for your kids' sake. So what that means is, keep it professional. Just your communication, you might get all kinds of backhanded comments or very forward comments, but really you don't have to engage in any of that. You just thank you for your feedback, move on. That's really all there is to it. And then another question here: what's been the hardest part of co-parenting for you? And then we can talk about that. All right. The emotional side, so dealing with guilt, loneliness, and moving forward. Divorce really does hit hard. The guilt, loneliness, frustration, it's all real. So how do we push through that? And first, you want to acknowledge that it is a struggle, and it's okay to feel hurt, uh, but really don't stay stuck. You want to prioritize your self care. Your mental health does matter. We've talked in several other episodes where going to therapy, um, that's a big deal, and there's a stigma around it for dads. I don't understand why, but you should go and check it out. And then find your tribe. So surrounding yourself with other strong dads who get it. And even if they're not strong dads, maybe they're trying to go through it too, and you're just trying to build out some kind of understanding. Again, in one of the episodes I had made, we talked about the yes men, and we all need those, but maybe don't take advice all the time from folks that are like, "Yeah, you're right. Just stick with it." Might not go the way you think it does. And then how to be the dad your kids need no matter what. So your kids thrive on consistency. Kids in general thrive on consistency, love, leadership. They need to know that they can count on you. So you got to show up for them, even when it's hard, even when you've got other obligations, or you're committed to other things. You're going to have to make some adjustments. And then don't badmouth the other parent. It's just not worth your time or energy. And even if it's a one-sided thing, one parent's doing it, one isn't. You don't have to engage in that. You just have to navigate it, move on, and continue leading, loving your children, and being consistent, and then ultimately being a safe place or providing a safe. You don't have to necessarily for them or solve the problem for them. A lot of times, kids just want to know that they're in a place where it's okay to make a mistake. And then modeling emotional regulation. Show them how to handle frustration and setbacks. What are you going to do if something you're planning or something you're doing doesn't go the way that you expect. And then fostering independence. So give them responsibilities, encourage their growth. Um, Routine tasks, too, are kind of a big deal. So clean up after dinner. My kids are older, so it's a little bit less cumbersome. I know what the expectation is, and it's not really a question or something that we have to sit and debate. We just hop up and we go do it. And we've had to stick with routine in order to make it consistent, but it really does work. And then another question: what are some other ideas to teach resilience to your child? I'd be curious to see what folks have to say there. This next part, dealing with financial struggles as a divorced dad. So divorce can really bring that financial strain, and there are different ways you can manage it. And this isn't an all encompassing list, but it does have some good points. You want to budget wisely, prioritize the needs, and cut unnecessary expenses. And that could be a lot of things. Do you really need Netflix? And that's a tough one, but you have to really sit and ask yourself that question: is now the time for Netflix, or is Netflix later? Seek financial advice. If you have someone that you can get advice from, or even getting professional advice or professional guidance, depending on your circumstance, just depends on what's needed for the circumstance. And then focusing on stability. Kids thrive when they feel secure. Even if money's tight, you can't go around acting like money is tight. Now, that doesn't mean just have a bunch of money in your wallet and go wave it around and let's go get ice cream every day. It means that there are other ways to do it. Buy that however many dollar gallon of ice cream at Kroger. I bet they'll enjoy it just as much. And if not, they're going to learn to. But that's how you do those things. You still try to jump out there and do what you can within your means. And then, of course, finding love again after divorce. Um, you have to really ask yourself, are you ready to date again? And it's important to take your time. You want to heal first before jumping into a new relationship. You want to be upfront with your kids about it, and introducing new partners gradually, and then ensure your next relationship is healthy. Look for someone who respects your role as a father, who is into some of the same things you are, who isn't going to, I mean, let's say you've got hobbies, who isn't going to interfere with your hobbies or make you change your behavior to fit in with what they expect. They will just take you as you are, and will add value to your life versus making you change who you are. So I think this is the last question here. Have you started dating again? And then what challenges have you faced? I'm really interested to see what I get with this one. Willing to talk about it and how I navigated it. If you guys want to send me a message, we can work through that. And then the last part, you know, you really have to be open-minded when you're a dad going through divorce. Things that were pretty cut and dry or very structured before might not be that way going forward. And what you have to remember is you're still a dad, no matter what. So no one can take that away from you. Um, your presence matters more than what your circumstances are. And then staying strong, stay connected, lead your kids. We talked about that a little bit earlier here. And ultimately, just keep being yourself. Don't get caught up in the drama. Don't get caught up in any this or that back and forth. Keep it professional. You don't have to jump down any rabbit holes or engage in anything you're not comfortable with. And you set those boundaries. And they can take on a number of different forms, but I think those are important. And then ultimately, taking care of yourself. You want to make sure that you're not jumping out there and acting differently, or putting yourself to the side because you're trying to keep up with everything. You're important too. And I don't think we talk about that enough. Um, And really, that's all I've got. So thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to those comments and questions. So yeah, that's all I've got, guys. Make sure you stay strong, lead well, and remember to always keep dad mode activated. And we'll see you next time.